So you're thinking about moving to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Well, we're gonna cover 3 things that you need to know before you make the decision to move. The first thing you need to know is that we were recently named the fastest growing large city in the Midwest. So for years now, we've been popping up on lists, best places to live, most affordable places to live. We've been in the Wall Street Journal, US News and World Report. A lot of different publications have been ranking us, but those are all opinion-based and using different algorithms. This most recent announcement was actually based on census data. So they tracked all the cities in the Midwest with 250,000 people or more. That's what they qualify as large city. And we had the largest population growth. And nationwide, we were the 26th fastest growing city. So this is an exciting time to be here. There's a lot going on, and we're getting the results to show it. One of the main reasons for this growth is definitely our affordability. So according to Redfin, the national average, the median sale price is around $400,000, give or take, here in America. In Fort Wayne last month, the median sale price was $265,000. So just by moving here, you're already getting ahead of the game. I did the same thing. I was born and raised here, moved to Florida. When I came back, my wife was able to quit her job and we cut our mortgage payment in half while doubling the size of our house. So we had a huge windfall that enabled her to stay home with our children. And whether that's your goal or not, it gives you a lot more flexibility and a lot more options simply by moving here. And this trend is not new. So we also recently found out that for the 9th straight year, Fort Wayne has had a net positive migration, meaning more people moved here than moved away. That was not the case for like a good 40 or 50 years. We grew birth over death for many, many years. And starting in 2017, that trend turned. And I think COVID just kind of amplified it as not only the world got more expensive, but I think it made people take a really hard look at like, what's really important to me? What are my core values? What do I want out of a place to live? And that has really elevated Fort Wayne. If you've been to the channel before, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining. My name is Jake McAfee. I'm a real estate agent. I've been in the business for over 14 years now. I actually am from Fort Wayne. As I touched on earlier, I moved to Orlando, Florida. I was there for 12 years and I relocated back in 2019. So if you're thinking about moving, I know exactly what you're going through. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and feel free to reach out directly if you want to talk about your own move. Also, if you guys could do me a favor, if you're watching this in another state, even if you're not thinking about moving here, maybe you're from Fort Wayne and you're just checking out Fort Wayne videos, please do me a favor, drop in the comments what state you're watching this from. I think it'd be very cool to see what different states are tuning in. Okay, before you move back, thing that you gotta know, number 2, Hoosier Hospitality is real. For those of you who don't know, Hoosier Hospitality basically means there's like a Midwest friendliness. They always say people from the Midwest are nice and easygoing and friendly, and that's something that I definitely took for granted growing up. It was just the norm. It was all I knew. Then once I moved to Orlando, Florida, and was there for 12 years, I started to look at it totally different, and it really was a factor in moving back. Your interactions at a grocery store, at a gas station, strangers will kind of chat you up here. I actually just helped someone move from South Florida, and they were kind of saying like, he's like, man, wherever he moved out to Leo, and he said, whether it's my barber or no matter where I'm going, people always want to talk to me and are super friendly. And he said it took a little getting used to, and I had the same experience. When you're in another state, you're in a bigger city, people are busy, they're on the go, they don't really care about what the other person is doing, but people definitely do care here. And it did lead to me moving back. So I hadn't been back for many years after I started having children. My wife and I bought a property here to do Airbnb by Lakeside Park, if you know where that is. It was a really cool opportunity. And that got me coming back to town more. And every time I was here, just my interactions in traffic, just little convenience stores, it was just such a better experience all around, significantly less traffic. But I just found myself more at ease, more calm, and really enjoying other people here. And it definitely got the ball rolling for my wife and I talking about what we were gonna do after we had our 3rd child. So I do have a request though. If you're thinking about moving here, please come with the mindset of paying it forward and maintaining what we have going here. I think a mistake or something that, locals, including myself, are a little concerned about with how fast we're growing, with how many people are moving here, are they gonna bring the same, you know, whether it's politics or opinions or behaviors that led to them wanting to not be in their city anymore? So I would ask, if you're coming here, come with an open mind, come with a friendly, neighborly, not saying you have to be best friends with everyone, but I think making an effort, and that's really what it comes down to, you know, if we're gonna be serious and just get right to the point, it's lazy and it's easy to be negative. It's hard and takes work, and you have to be intentional to stay positive. I work on that every day. It definitely doesn't come easy. You know, someone cuts me off in traffic, or you see what's crazy going on in the world. But if I have a request, again, if you're coming here, please come with that open mind and maintain that Hoosier hospitality. Okay, item number 3 that you gotta know before moving to Fort Wayne is that Fort Wayne is perfect for outdoor lovers. So we have over 89 public parks in the city with 2,800 acres of land. Parks is a point of pride in this city, and that doesn't even count some of the regional and county parks. The Fort Wayne Parks Department does a fantastic job. They maintain the parks, they upgrade them. Some of my favorite parks are getting upgraded right now. I take my kids to different parks every weekend. We try to mix it up, and there's just so many options, and they love each one. A couple of my favorites is Shove Park on the northeast side of town. I grew up near there. I absolutely love that place. And Foster Park. There's a long list, but I would say Shove and Foster are towards the top of mine. So if you're thinking about visiting, feel free to check those 2 out. We also have the Acres Land Trust. So this is basically a land trust that protects a lot of natural, whether it's wildlife, wetlands, woods, etc. There's 8,000 acres spread across 27 counties in the region, and over 70 miles of trails spread across 30 free access nature preserves. So I personally am a huge fan of the land trust, the Acres Land Trust. You know, Bicentennial Woods is one in Huntertown on the north side of town I've taken my kids to. There's some on the south side of town or just south of Fort Wayne where we've gone hiking with, you know, creeks and rivers and stuff like that. It's absolutely beautiful and such a blessing. And you're out there and it is quiet wilderness. We're very, very lucky to have the Acres Land Trust here. So we also have something known as the Puffer Belly Trail. Puffer Belly is a name for the steam locomotives that help, you know, basically shape Fort Wayne. We were, you know, kind of the crossroads of America. We had a lot of trains coming through, so it's kind of throwback to that name. But that is an 11-mile trail on the north side of town, and it kind of winds through neighborhoods. It's good for hiking, biking, jogging, etc. And it's actually part of a bigger connectivity trail system. So it connects to the River Greenway, which goes through downtown, and ultimately is part of the Pokabachi, I'm not sure I'm saying that right, Pokabachi connector. So that basically runs from Angola, which is about 45 minutes to an hour north of Fort Wayne, all the way down to Bluffton, which is about 40 minutes south of Fort Wayne, half hour south of Fort Wayne, and it's connected through 4 counties. So there's a continuous trail system all the way through the area, and it's very, very cool. But the Puffer Belly Trail is a part that runs through, you know, kind of the north side and runs right past the YMCA. I have had clients who, you know, before we get started, we do a buyer's consultation and we have a list of must-haves, wants, and deal breakers. And some of their must-haves are like near the Puffer Belly Trail. It's very popular. People like to hop on and then they can go jogging, biking, whatever. And it's kind of pretty. You get to see different neighborhoods, but it also winds through the woods and stuff like that. So Puffer Belly Trail, very popular around here. We've also got 3 rivers that meet right in the heart of downtown. So we've got the St. Joe River, the Maumee River, and the St. Mary. So that lends itself to a lot of different things. People go canoeing, people go boating. They're starting to redevelop all around the riverfront down there. Some people do fish. Now I will say we have mistreated these rivers. There's been a lot of pollution. We are undoing that. You know, basically when I first moved back, they started a project called Mama Joe, which was named after the Maumee, the St. Mary, and the St. Joe River. It was an underground tunnel boring machine. It bored a huge underground tunnel that helped, because what was happening was these old sewer systems were overflowing with rain and the sewage was running into the river, obviously gross. So now that they have this new water filtration system, which is still under construction, but the tunnel boring is done, that's really cleaning up the rivers. We've got a lot of intentionality to try to get these rivers as clean as possible. So in my opinion, the river's best days are yet to come. We also have many freshwater lakes in the area, so it is very common for people to have second homes, lake homes. and there's a lot of lakes. I'm still learning about new lakes. I just had a client send me one on a lake that I'd never heard of before. I'm like, man, how am I still learning about these lakes? But some of them don't have properties come up very often, but some of the popular ones, Lake Wawasee, Lake James, Crooked Lake, Lake Gage, I mean, there's dozens. But the water's clean, they're great for fishing. Some of them you can ski on, do jet skis, boats, canoes, whatever. Whatever you like to do outside or just enjoy sunsets. Some of them have sandbars, so people go there and dock their boat and party with friends on the weekend, that kind of thing at the sandbar. So the lake is very, very popular. And I always say, if you can't afford a lake, make sure that you have friends who can. And lastly, in regards to nature, so Fort Wayne is very naturally densely wooded. And that was something that really stood out to me, coming from a big city that had been really developed. There's still a lot of woods. I mean, just even like in some pretty developed areas, it'll be packed amongst the woods. There's a lot of very wooded neighborhoods, and then there's still lots of untouched land. So we are just naturally very wooded, which lends itself to a lot of, when I drive home, I see deer, wild turkey, foxes. I see this stuff almost every day, and it's very, very cool. And it also lends itself to being very pretty in the fall. So we get a lot of wonderful fall scenery. So Fort Wayne is definitely, if you're outdoorsy, you like to get outside, you like nature, Fort Wayne will be perfect for you. Okay, that's the list. I hope it was helpful. Those are 3 things that you definitely need to know before you make the decision to move here. If you are planning on moving here, I would love to be your real estate agent of choice. Again, I've been in the business for 14 years. I have moved away and moved a family back. I know exactly what you're going through. I would love to reach out, start with a phone call, and then if you're comfortable, we can progress, do a Zoom call or meet in person and do a buyer's consultation and put a step-by-step plan together and remove some of the stress. That way, instead of trying to think of it all at once, you just do a step-by-step plan, and it really makes it a lot smoother, a lot more streamlined. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next video.